Hey everybody, welcome. This is Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority, where we help junk removal business owners make more money and live a better life. All right, so I got a quick question for you. For those of you that have employees, do you have any tips on motivating and compensating your employees? How do you pay your employees? You're going to watch this video and just kind of let us know if you have any tips that I didn't cover that you found that it would work. That's going to be helpful to the people that watch this video. So, for those of you guys, before we get into it, if you guys own a junk removal business or you're thinking about starting a junk removal business, which I'm going to make the assumption that pretty much everybody watching this video is in one of those two categories, our junk removal marketing services, check them out over at junkra.com. We do junk removal websites, Google Ads management, search engine optimization for only junk removal companies. We've been doing it for a while now, 5 years, so we know kind of how things work. We'd love to help you out. Head over to junkra.com. All right, so the topic of today's video is how to pay. Those of you that are new, or maybe you only have a couple employees, or maybe you have a ton of employees, we're going to kind of just go through the basics of how we compensate our team members with Junk Doctors. Junk Doctors is our junk removal company in North Carolina. Does about $3 million a year in revenue, 3 major metro locations. It's at junkdrs.com if you want to kind of see what we've got going on with Junk Doctors. All right, so a couple quick little notes on employee pay. One, what we're talking about is if you're paying them as a W-2 employee. These are not 1099 contractors. You have several jobs on the schedule for that day. They're getting in your vehicle and going to the job site. They're calling your customers on your behalf. They're showing up and they're using your pricing and they're following your methods of carrying out the jobs, and they're using your brooms, your shovels, your sawzalls. They're coming in when you tell them they need to come in. In no way, shape, or form can this ever be, or should it ever be, a 1099 contractor. So if you guys are paying as a 1099, the IRS is getting $80 billion more in revenue to start auditing people. Might be a little less with this budget negotiations going on, but they are going to be looking into, and your state, a lot of times this is a state issue, your state is going to be looking into, are you misclassifying W-2 employees as contractors? Don't do it. It sets yourself up right from the beginning for failure. Go ahead and do what you need to. Set them up as a W-2 employee. Also, listen guys, I know a lot of y'all do this. Statutes of limitations is up on Junk Doctors. We've been open a long time. We opened 12 years ago. When I first started 12 years ago, we did this. We paid by cash. Don't do it. Don't do it. Why? Because if you take money by cash and you don't report it on taxes, and if you pay your employees by cash, what's happening? Well, you're running an illegitimate business, and the problem is you're going to limit your growth. You're going to never be able to go out and get a loan for a vehicle, at least not very easily, because you're not showing any income. If you want to go get a house, it's going to be tough to actually get a mortgage. You're going to find that you've got all this extra cash. Well, you really don't want to put that in the bank because there's a trail. It's very difficult to operate illegitimately and grow to any sort of scale. Can you have a nice fat wad of cash and avoid the taxes? Yes. But long term, it'll actually cost you more money by not paying your taxes than paying your taxes, doing it correctly and growing. Okay. So now that we kind of established that, it's a W-2 employee. Now, with a W-2 employee, always remember you've got to pay your FICA taxes, Medicare, Social Security, etc. So you're taking Medicare, Social Security. There's unemployment. You actually pay a percentage of that too. But on Medicare and Social Security, you are splitting that cost with the employee. It comes to be almost like 13% between those two. So just remember, when you're paying, you need to set up with a great payroll company that's actually taking this stuff out and it's paying it on your behalf. All right, so now that we've got this established, let's start going into kind of what should you pay them and how do you pay them, because the structure is important here. So, a couple ground rules right off the bat. Do not set pay based on fear. And this has been a kind of a big issue. I'll say do not set pay based on fear, nor hire in a pinch. So recently, we have been going through, I'd say over the last like 3 years, 4 years, we've been going through this deal where there is a shortage of good employees. No matter how much you pay, for the most part, there's been a shortage on employees. Now, it seems like we're getting out of that phase. We're pretty much fully staffed in Raleigh, Charlotte, and Greensboro for junk doctors. We're finding people relatively easily now for JRA. Our truck body company is fully staffed up with everything that we need, especially truck bodies, junk-removal-trucks-for-sale.com, where we build junk removal trucks. So it seems like we have exited that last like 3-year trend where sometimes you would pay based on fear. You would provide raises based on the fear of losing somebody. And as soon as you do that, you now set that precedent for everybody else, because you can't just give one person a raise unless they have just performed a lot better, been with you a lot longer or whatever. So if you're doing just a raise and they're not a ton better than somebody else, you got to raise up the entire staff. So you get on this trend based on one moment of time where you are afraid of losing somebody. Well, now you're having to pay all that extra long term. Your business might not support that. You might not be able to charge enough rates to be able to recuperate enough money to earn profits. And then you can never really decrease pay for the most part and get away with it. Generally, people start looking for other jobs and work and all like that. So you have to really be careful when you set your pay rates. So don't based on set pay based on fear. Another thing, I would not share, when you're paying somebody, I wouldn't share a portion of the job revenues. Now, you can set up a commission structure or some sort of established structure like that. But some people try and say, hey, you come in, I'll take half the money, I'll give you half the money, or whatever. Don't get any of that. Let's pay on an hourly basis for the work that they carry out. You do, this is a big thing, you do need, I don't need to write it up there, but you do need to pay for drive time. From time to time, I see where people say, hey, I'm only going to pay you for the work you're doing. Listen, guys, they wouldn't be riding around in that truck unless they had to, because they're going to your job site. So you need to make sure that you actually pay for drive time. So now that we've got kind of some ground rules set up, the way that we start out, it's a base pay, an hourly base pay. Now, on that hourly base pay, what's typical? Well, it depends what area of the country you're at. All right, for the most part, I can divide the different areas of the country into New York City, California, and pretty much everywhere else. Well, you know what? Actually, not quite everywhere else. We'll do rural America. Rural Americano. And then everywhere else. In New York City, starting rates, if you're advertising, you're probably 20, 21, so for like a navigator, so again, a navigator are your helpers. Some people call them helpers, some people call them navigators, guys that are not driving, not quoting jobs. Nav, starting out, be somewhere around $21. And then let's say they get up to the point they can be a team lead, or they have some experience. You might go all the way up to about 25 once they've got some experience, or if they had prior experience doing your job or whatever. Basically, they can quote, they can drive. All right, if we go to California. California numbers are somewhere in the neighborhood of $18 for a nav, up to about $22 or so. I didn't even say, what does that say? Actually about 24. Up to around $23, $24 an hour for your team leads. So somewhere in that range, just a little bit less than New York City. Now your rural America, and this is going to be, a lot of very, very rural areas of the U.S. don't necessarily have junk removal companies that have a lot of employees and all. So when I talk about rural America, it's not really all that rural. It's more like some of the smaller areas, but still with a decent amount of population. Like, you're not out in the middle of nowhere, but it's not near like a major city, not a Raleigh, a Charlotte, an Atlanta, Dallas, something like that. You're kind of on the outskirts. Maybe you're an hour away from one of those major hubs. A lot of those areas you're seeing $15 to about 18 for a TL, 18, 19, somewhere in that range. And then everywhere else, pretty much everywhere else, this is your Raleighs, your Charlottes, your Huntsville, Alabamas, Atlantas, a lot of your East Coast towns, and then your Dallases and all that kind of stuff. Most of us are having to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of about $16 an hour, 16 or 17, to about 19, and then if somebody's really experienced, up to about 21 or so per hour on the base pay. This information is based on companies that we work with, because we work with a lot of companies all throughout the country. So all these price points are based on companies we work with. It's also based on just on going on Indeed, which is something you should do. Just go on Indeed and look for junk removal employees in your area, and that's going to give you a pretty good idea. So that's the base rate. The next thing that you definitely want to factor into when you're advertising your job are the number of tips that people get. So if you're using an app like Workies that has a platform and a way of actually requesting tips, and that encourages clients to leave tips, tips can be pretty significant. So as a general rule, if somebody does 5 jobs throughout a day, we like to figure most likely they're going to earn somewhere between $80 to $120 or so dollars at times on tips. Now, some days might be less, but other days you're going to average around that, because a lot of people are going to leave a $20 to $40 tip. So if you got 5 jobs in there, everybody left a $40 tip, you're looking at $200. Each guy is going to get about $100 in tips. Varies based on your area, but that's not uncommon for what we see. So the tips are going to get added in. Now, tips, they often are added to the credit card, or they're sometimes they're paid out in cash, but oftentimes they're added to the credit card, or they're added to a check or whatever you're taking. Don't force tips to be cash only. Some people want to force tips to be cash only because you wind up, you've got to pay the credit card fees for the tips, and there's fees associated with having that kind of money come in. There's employment taxes. Again, you pay half of Social Security, half of Medicare. So when somebody leaves a tip, you're actually paying Social Security and Medicare on that. Listen, guys, that's just a part of doing business. Don't lessen the amount of tips your employees can get by forcing your customers to pay in cash. A lot of people don't accept cash anymore. So that's just the one little bit I'm going to put on there is don't force cash. And we've got employees making hundreds of dollars every week off of tips. So that's important to note. Most customers leave $10 to $20 per job. We have customers, it's actually 20 to 40, but per team member. Let's change this. It's 20 to 40 per job. So, $10 to $20 per team member based on tips. So that's pretty significant. If you figure and you go off and do a job, a lot of jobs are going to take you 2 hours. By the time your drive time, you go and load everything up, you unload it and all like that. So you got an additional, a good little additional amount in there that people are earning. It can be another $5 per hour sometimes. So it's pretty significant. So tips is the next part. The last part, how you can pay people, and this is something that Big Blue and a lot of your larger companies do because they figured out it works. You can do a commission schedule. Now, the thing with commissions and bonuses is they have to change the behavior. So the only reason you have a commission and bonus is because you want positive reinforcement that's actually going to lead to somebody to do something that you desire them to do. What do you want from a commission schedule? You want higher AJSs. You want to complete more jobs. And you want to do it in less time. That's what you desire. So if you do not do a commission schedule, or if you incorrectly do it, what's going to happen is your guys are going to be out there doing jobs, and they're not going to be in a hurry to get jobs done. Sometimes they'll even slow down because they know that it's very common in junk removal to get same-day pickups. Well, they don't want to get the same-day pickup. They'd rather it go tomorrow, or they'd rather another crew actually get it. And a lot of times the crews will pick up on this, and all of a sudden it's like they're in a competition just to like slow down, so they don't have to do these same-day pickups. When you set a proper commission schedule, and the way you do that is you have a goal, and then you are going to pay commission on anything in excess of that goal. But the way this is basically going to work is, let's say you set a goal of $1,500, that they're not getting paid commission on that first $1,500. If they go from $1,500 and they get $1,800 in sales, so they got an extra $300, or let's say they go $2,000 and get an extra $500, you're going to pay a percentage of that overage out as a commission. That will change behavior, because here's what's going to happen. At the beginning of the day, they're going to know what their goal is. They're going to see the number of jobs that are kind of on their calendar. They're going to want to get more jobs done in order to hit that goal. So complete more jobs, what does that mean? Well, they're going to have to do the current jobs they have in less time, and they're not certain if a call is going to come in for an extra job or not. So they're right from the beginning of the day, they're going to be hustling and all. That way they have the availability to take on additional work if the time comes. So that's going to help you complete more jobs. It's also going to help you do jobs in less time because they want to get more jobs done. Also, if you have a set number of jobs, what's the one way you can take that set number of jobs and get more money? Well, it's from a higher average job sale. Now, you got to be a little careful in this, because you do not want your employees out there gouging your customers and charging pricing way over. Because what will happen is you'll get a short-term gain where you'll get a higher AJS and more money then, but that could irritate that client. That client or that customer or client, they might go ahead and just do the job because they have to get it done. A lot of junk removal jobs are done in a pinch. But they might say, you know what, I'm never using that customer again or that company again because they overcharged me when they knew that I had to get the work done. Matter of fact, I might even post a negative review online. And you know what? I might let my friends know. And even worse, I might let all my friends know on social media what this particular company did. So you do have to be careful in this. You need to be reviewing after job pictures. So everybody should be doing end of job pictures. They should be going into WorkEase, and they should be placing that information or those pictures in WorkEase. You should be reviewing that and comparing it to what was quoted. If it looks like it was grossly off, you need to investigate further that particular team member and make sure they're not padding numbers significantly to drive up their commission. So that's the one area you got to be a little careful on. When you do all of this, when you go through and you have a base pay and you have a tip structure and you have a commission structure, it is very, very common to add to the base of about another an additional $5 to $8 per hour. So you could have some guys you just hired, depending on the area of the country, you're making close to $25 an hour slinging junk, which is pretty significant. So when you go to advertise on Indeed or wherever based on the total package, not just hourly. A lot of companies do not do that. A lot of companies don't have a commission structure either. That's going to give you an instant advantage on getting more people that apply and getting better people that apply because your pay is higher. So quick little tip right there. Key thing on setting this and paying employees and all like that is have it all clearly thought out, documented, and let your employees know how you pay kind of up front. If you follow this structure, you're really going to set yourself up for success. You're going to be doing things legally. You're going to be attracting the right people, and you're going to be able to grow. So listen, guys, one of the things that we teach people when you're going out and you're doing junk removal jobs is at the end of the job, hey, say, hey, Mr. Customer, I'm a small business. How'd everything go today? Did it go well? Great. If it went well, then please leave a review online. I'm going to send you a link right now. Leave a review online. It allows me to grow and succeed. What we're asking you right now is if you found this video to be helpful, please like this video, subscribe to it. This is very important. Please actually comment, even if it's just like, hey, great video, or this video sucks, or whatever it might be. Leave us a comment because that does help us out as a small business that's also trying to grow. It helps out that YouTube algorithm. So please do that. All right. The question that I'm really curious about, what was helpful with this video? So if you found something that was particularly helpful, that is something you can comment. And then also on the other end is what's something you wish we would have covered. If you put that in the comments, then we'll try and make sure that we get to it relatively soon. Again, marketing, guys, everybody needs it. You got to have jobs in order to grow as a business. We all want work. That's the reason we're in business. So make sure you head over to junkrray.com. Check out our junk removal marketing packages. Submit your information on the contact us form or give us a call. We'll reach out to you and we'll find out if we're a good fit. We'll let you know what to expect. And then we're going to do everything we possibly can with our great team here to deliver on that. I'm Godbold, Junk Removal Authority. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.